This is Jenny Kunkel, and in this video we're going to take a look at how we can change our deployed limits within our container for our CPU and our memory. Let's go ahead and get started with that. As we indicated in the last video, we can always check a container's limits by going into the details in Docker Desktop and looking at the stats, and it's going to give us a picture of how our container is processing with respect to our CPU and our memory. If I minimize Docker Desktop, I can also take a look at stats for all my containers running if I do a Docker stats. And it's going to give me a picture of every one of those containers that is running. We can see that our PHP admin is well under the limit for memory. We can also take a look at what the percentage is. We can always see that MySQL is going to run up to kind of the limit for memory. Even if we gave it more, it's going to still continue to run pretty high. We can Control C out of this to get out of the command. If we decide that we want to go ahead and change something within our deployed resources, we can always bring our containers down. We can't stop them. We have to bring our containers down. So we can do a Docker compose down. Once we have our container down, and if it was one or more, we would come into our Docker compose file, and let's say that we want to change our Apache to 75, and we want to come down to our MySQL, and we want to change it to 450. We just make our changes to our Docker compose file, save the file, and then re-execute our Docker compose up -d. Once our containers are up, we can go back into our Docker stats and take a look at how it's running. Notice our MySQL database is running still at about 97%, even though we added more memory to it. It pretty much usually stays kind of pegged out. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that unless you have a performance degradation problem. So that is the quick way that we can change those requirements for the limits inside of our container.